Hi, my name is Kat and I love books. Like, I love them. And so I decided that I'm gonna start doing videos about books and about how much I love books and about different books and reviewing books because I just love books and nobody around me is really like super into them like I am. They think that it's crazy that I go through a book in 24 hours, but like they're good. So I've decided to do this. Um, I'm very new at it, so it's probably not gonna be good, but you know what? We're just gonna freaking do it, I guess. So, we're gonna start off today with the book Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I'm going to be reviewing it because I read it like a week or two ago, and I've just gotten to a point where I need to talk about it with somebody else who has read it, even if nobody watches this video. So basically, Scythe is about just not a dystopian future, more of a fantasy sci-fi future where the world has basically gotten rid of disease. They've cured death, basically. So people are living hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. So to solve a population crisis, they have people called Scythes. And these Scythes are chosen so that they can kill people completely randomly so that the earth isn't overgrown with humans. Now, already, it's an interesting world that I would love to like see and hear about and learn more about, and so I'm already like hooked on this book. And then I started reading it, and so I'm gonna do this review. The first like part is spoiler free, and then the last part has spoilers in it because I think everyone should get to know how a book is, even if you have read it or if you haven't. So we're just gonna do both of them. So basically, how I felt about the book is that I absolutely loved it. I thought the concept was extremely fascinating. I found all of the characters complex and compelling, and I wanted to know what each one of them was thinking, and I was rooting for basically all of them except for the protagonist, who had no redeeming qualities. The twists in the book are not expected. A lot of times when you're reading a book and you can see what's gonna happen. Like, you see someone die in the book, you read it, and you're like, no, they're coming back. That's the twist. It's done. But with this one, I have absolutely no idea what was coming next. And I think that Neil Shusterman does a really good job of putting you in such a way that when you get to a crossroads, you don't know which way that you should go or that will happen. So that was really good because I'm very sick of reading books that are very predictable, and this book was not predictable whatsoever. There is a romance in the book, but it's not shoved down your throat, and it's not ever explicitly even said. I'm pretty sure they don't ever say it. Why don't we look? Why don't we, okay. So, there is a romance in the book, but it's not so shoved down your throat that you're like, wow, they have to be. It's a very human relationship. That's what I'll call it. It's very much, I'm not going to just say my feelings because I've known this girl for a month. It's very much like growing them steadily and starting off as a friendship. So it's a really beautiful romance that isn't, I just like it a lot. Okay. The book itself has very serious themes, which any book that's literally about death would have. But Scythe takes death and it makes it simultaneously the most important thing in the world and the most unimportant, which I think is really cool because, of course, death is inevitable, and they talk about the inevitability of it. But also that makes it human, and that makes it not scary because it's the only thing that every single one of us will do other than birth. And so they discuss the fear of death, but the calm and the acceptance of when your time is time, then like you're done. And I just found it to be very compelling and a very mature topic taken very well in a young adult novel, which I don't think many do very well. They take death and they just they bookify it where they make it like this great sacrifice, when in reality, for that one person it is, but for everyone else, it's just another day, another death, because, I don't know, like, isn't it like 17 people die every minute? I'll look it up. It's something like that. Like, a lot of people die all the time, and so I thought that this guy took a really great perspective of death, and I really liked it. So that is my non-spoiler part. So if you don't want to be spoiled for the book, because I'm gonna go in, ladies and gentlemen, then you should probably skedaddle. Now, if you don't care and you're never gonna read it and you just want to like know what's up, then like, hey, okay. Here we go. So the spoilery things that I liked is that I loved Rowan and Citra together. I loved it. I thought that when he said I love you to her, it did, at the very end, it did not feel like he was, like the author was forcing him to say it. Like the author was like, oh no, like the book is ending, he has to say I love you. It felt like, yes, this is the time, this is when it should happen, and here it is, and it's happening, and it's not like this big standing in the rain type of thing. It's just, I love you, and I have to tell you right now because the world is crumbling around me, which is what we expected. And so it just, their relationship was handled very well. Let's talk about freaking, oh my god, what's his name? Scythe Faraday is my homeboy. He is such a good character. Like, you start off the book, and it's basically, like, taking you through the same emotions that the main characters, Rowan and Citra, have about him. And you're like, ah, what a douche nozzle coming in and just taking people's lives, even though that's your job. And you grow to love him because he's just this wise man who knows exactly what he's doing and the consequences of what he's doing and the repercussions of what he's doing, and he handles it so well, and he's such a good teacher. And then homeboy, like, when they said in the book, when they knocked on the door and they were like, oh, Faraday's dead, he killed himself, I audibly gasped. I went, what? I said that out loud. And I think I was by myself, praise Jesus. But it was just, I just grew to love Faraday so much. And then he freaking shows up at the end with, oh my god, what was her name? I forgot all their names because it took me such a long time to make this. Scythe Curie. The romance with Scythe Curie and Faraday was like super cute because you knew they weren't going to get together, and they never like played with your feelings that they were gonna get together. But when they told you their love story, you're like, oh, yeah, that's cute. And so I really liked it. And just Faraday showing up at the end and being like, what the fuck is going on? And and then having to like mentor Citra and like get back in it, and like, I'm just imagining like a Star Wars Yoda on top of Luke Skywalker's back type of situation happening, like this rainforest beach thing that they're at. Which, basically, I love the characters and I love their relationships, and Scythe Faraday is my homeboy. And now we're gonna go to things that I don't like, because there were definitely parts that I wasn't like a huge fan of. Nothing enough to make me dislike the book, because I love the book and I cannot wait to read Thunderhead. It's on my TBR. It's up next after I finish the 3 Dark Crowns series that I'm reading right now. Expect a review soon because I'm on the 2nd book and the 3rd one isn't coming out for a while. We don't even have a title. Thank you. The things I was not quite a fan of was that the laws of the Scythe didn't seem to have any consistency. Of course, like, the main ones did, where it was like you can't kill another Scythe, or if you run away from being gleaned, then like you donezo, and so is your whole family. But there were just a lot of times where something would happen and you would be sitting there like, that's not in the that's against the rules. Like with oh my god, I don't know any of their names. Like when Goddard, that is his name, like when Goddard was out doing these mass gleanings, like, it's never explicitly stated in the laws that he can't, but it also, like, is. So they never like say like you can't do mass cleanings, but there's just so many laws that would like go that are against so many parts of it that if it were an act like in a court of law, what I'm saying is that none of this would fly, and that kind of took me out of it because I was like, this, of course the book isn't realistic, Kat, but but it just wasn't realistic enough because they're just such a serious society and they're the only self-governing ones left that you'd think that they'd like had some of this stuff come up before and would have had to discuss like gray areas because that's gonna happen. It's human nature and you'd think they would have figured it out by now. So I wasn't a big fan of that. Another thing which is just like a prissy like thing is that the cover is like, she ain't cute. And I wish that she was because I want to display her everywhere because I love her so much. But like, honey, I look like I'm in 7th grade while I'm reading this. And if you're in 7th grade, then like that's cool. But I'm like 17 years old and walking around my high school with this book that looks juvenile, and that makes me kind of sad. I wish like let me do a cover redesign for you, Neil Schusterman. I'll do it for a special edition. Like, hit me up. I can't even draw, and I'll like Photoshop something together for you, honey, okay? And then the last thing that kind of bothered me was Rowan's family, because he talks about it throughout the book that he's the lettuce and that he's the middle, but he never actually talks about like his family. Like, he gets picked up by Scythe Faraday and like chooses to become like a Scythe apprentice, and then he never talks about his family again. He only talks about his lettuceness. Like, we see Citra's family a couple of times. I mean, she's using them, but we still get to see them, and we see how like they love her still, even if they're afraid of her, which is dumb. And we never see Rowan's family or hear him talk about it again, which is weird to me because even as the lettuce, you would still like talk about them throughout a year because we see them go through a year in this book. It's like, it's a long time for you to not ever mention or think about your family because it's in first person. We know their thoughts. And so I want to know, like just tell me. And so then another thing about the book that I didn't want to put in the non-spoiler part, because if someone had told me before I read the book that it was multi-perspective, I probably wouldn't have bought it, because I am usually not a fan of multi-perspective books, which is funny for me to say because I'm literally reading a series right now that's multi-perspective, and that's the point of it. But I wouldn't have picked it up or started reading it if I knew it was multi-perspective, and I usually don't like it. And I thought it was very well used because when they're together, they see each other. Like, we see Citra's and Rowan's perspectives. And when they're together, it's not confusing. We don't miss anything. Like, it's great. And then when they're separated, it helps to obtain more information for the story. It's not different perspectives just to know what each other is doing. It's pushing the plot forward, which I really, really appreciate, because I just think that Neil Schusterman did a really, really good job of like putting all those putting the two perspectives together and balancing them out. Oh, this was kind of a rough video, and as I was like doing it, I was like, wow, Kat, you're not very good at this. So if you saw me looking down, it's because I have notes about some of the stuff I wanted to talk about, and I also have the book sitting right here, and sometimes you just gotta like look at a cover of a book to know what you want to say. So yeah, that's my review. Overall, I gave it on Goodreads 4 out of 5 stars, which I think is a very deserving rating. I'm really, really excited to see what they will do with the second book, because I don't know quite what, like, of course Rowan is on the run, and like that's gonna be a plot point, but I want to know what they're gonna do like in general with the whole society, because I know that the book is titled Thunderhead, and so I'm expecting the Thunderhead to come into play, which is exciting because I thought that the Thunderhead was a really underutilized cool concept in the first book, and so I'm really excited for book 2, and I'm actually gonna pick it up like right after I finish this video because I'm going to Target. So yeah, I'm just really excited about the second book. I loved this one. If you're actually watching this video because you somehow found it, even though I have 0 subscribers and just started my channel, then leave a comment talking about the book with me. We could like debate. Like that would be cool, right? If we like talked about the book that I reviewed because we both read it. And even if you didn't read it, we can talk about it. Like you can ask me questions. Like I don't care. I guess that's it. If I have any more feelings, but I don't know. I'll add them in later, maybe. Probably not, because I'm lazy. Just wanted to make a book, talk about my feelings about... Wanted to make a book. Hi, my name's Catchy, and I wanted to make a book. No, I wanted to make a video talking about my feelings for this book, because I freaking love this book. So, yeah. Also, I've had this pen in my hand the whole time. It's a prop. Welcome to my channel. Okay, bye everybody.